I'm bringing you three up.
We're good.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Camille Lilly of the 78th District, and I'm the chair of the Illinois House Black Caucus. And I'm standing with caucus members, and many are on their way, to address what is happening in Washington with the Trump administration. And we stand together with the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus, where we are looking at decisions that are being made at the Trump administration about the SNAP program. We have with us Representative Shawn Ford, who's taken the lead on this issue that are affecting lives across our great state and our country. And without further ado, I'd like to bring Representative Ford forward to lay out what this administration policy is doing to the people of Illinois. Representative Ford.
Thank you, Leader Lilly. LaShawn Ford, State Rep, 8th District. We're here today because we have to put on notice the people of Illinois that effective in April, the Trump work requirement will take effect. The work requirement for SNAP benefits in Illinois and across the country, there's been a work requirement already that people have to work if they want to receive SNAP benefits, but it hasn't been enforced. And so the Trump administration has sent messages to the state's DHS offices stating that we must enforce the work requirement. So effective this year, the rules were that states had to enforce the work requirement. And so we want to tell you who has to meet those work requirements and how can those work requirements be met, and if you qualify for an exemption, and how many people will be impacted possibly by the work requirements. So if you are an adult age 18 to 49 years old with no dependents, no children, you will only receive SNAP benefits for 3 months out of a 36-month period, unless you do one or a combination of the work requirements laid out by the federal government. And so the work requirements say you can meet the work requirements if you work for 20 hours per week, an average of 80 hours per month, volunteer to participate and comply with the activities of SNAP employment and training programs, where you're in school or you're in some vocational training, work experience programs, or community work, or earned fare program. You could do community work at agencies, churches, or other organizations in your community for the required number of hours per week. So the problem that we have with the work requirements, there are so many people with disabilities that will fall through the cracks. We're not saying that people shouldn't work. We're saying that people should work, and they should go to work if they're going to receive SNAP benefits if they are able. But DHS, working with DHS, they're telling us that they don't have the revenue or the capacity to enforce the work requirement. Therefore, almost 700,000 people in Illinois will be cut from the SNAP benefit program if they're not able to prove that there is a disability causing them not to be able to fulfill the work requirement. So it's important that the people of Illinois know that this work requirement is being imposed on the state of Illinois, and we're also here to urge the President of the United States to rescind this enforcement of the work requirement. With that, I'll turn it back over to Representative Lilly to continue facilitating.
Thank you, Representative Ford. We do have some fact sheets available to the press in reference to the changes in the SNAP program that has been proposed by Trump. Again, we are looking to ask the administration to rescind this particular policy. One, jobs in the under-resourced communities are not there. Citizens who do not have access to jobs, they don't have access to food. They do not have access to housing. They do not have access to transportation. And to make this a requirement to address the basics, feeding one another, being concerned with one another's health through nutrition of good, solid food, and to now say that you do not have access to those basics, it's sad. The policy needs to be revisited. We stand with the Latino caucus and the Black caucus and students across our state who are in school and who can't work, but yet they're on the SNAP program with their parents. But now they have to work and go to school in order to have the basic need addressed, which is food. So I don't know why this, as of April 1, why this is so critical for this administration. But it is something that we're asking the administration to rescind. Standing with me today, we have Representative Greenwood, Representative Lamont Robinson, Representative Nick Smith, Representative Cam Buckner, and Leader Representative Flowers. At this time, I'd like any one of them to come and share some of the concerns. Representative Flowers, as a leader, I would like you to speak first.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that, again, we live in the United States of America, but if this were to happen, you would think that we're living in a third world country where people would be walking around being hungry and not. It's bad enough that you're hungry, but you have no place to live. So what do you do? What are you supposed to do? And I think this is a very unfortunate situation because jobs are not plentiful, and then if the jobs are there, most of them are minimum wage. So I just hope that the president is listening and that knowing that people really want to work and people don't want to be on food stamps. And the reason why people are on food stamps and Medicaid is because it's necessary. And that's the reason why the food stamps and the Medicaid program was implemented in the first place for the needy. So if the person is not needy, I could understand that. But the federal law called for the programs to be for the needy, and obviously these people qualify because they went through the application process. So why are we knocking needy people off of food stamps? That's unconscionable. Thank you.
Well, what's the answer?
Any questions? What's the answer to?
The problem, the administration says, well, folks ought to work if we're gonna give them SNAP. DHS can't handle it, you say, jobs aren't there, people are going without food stamps, the administration says, we're not gonna give food stamps. I said, come on, you say, well, there's no problem, we don't have a problem with people working, et cetera, et cetera. So what's the solution to this problem?
We're coming today in this press conference format to say that is a problem. There is a problem with this particular policy, and we're asking the administration to rescind this policy until you look further into state by state how it's impacting people who are in need. And that's one solution. Representative Ford.
So DHS, Illinois Department of Human Services, need more resources. We already have a problem in the state where people are kicked off of their Medicaid because of redetermination. So we already have a system that's kicking people off health care because the department cannot keep up with the need. And so now we're going to have a system that's going to kick people off of food stamps. So people in Illinois will not have health care. They will not have the ability to eat. And we need to rescind the work requirement and make sure that people are able to have SNAP benefits in the state of Illinois. As Representative Flowers said, people want to work. The problem that we have is there are people with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, and it would be up to them to file for an exemption. If they don't file for an exemption because they don't have the ability mentally or physically to do so, they would be kicked off of SNAP benefits. And that's a problem for many Illinoisans in our state.
What are our members of Congress and 2 U.S. senators have to say about it?
They stand firmly against, yeah?
Yes, we did a press conference. Congressman Davis, along with his colleagues, did a press conference once this policy was introduced back in about a couple of months ago, and stood at a local restaurant who was feeding the homeless, because that is the need. MacArthur Restaurant on the west side of Chicago. So we're staying across Illinois that this policy will impact people where it's almost unconscionable. Food is the basics in our society, and to have a policy that relates, if you're eligible for Medicaid because you have a need, now it requires you to work to have food to eat. And if you can't work, as mentioned, whether you have a disability, whether you can't find employment, whether you are challenged with skill sets, but you still have a need, now you can't even eat. The policy does not reflect the issues that are in our society today. It just does not. So we're asking them to rescind it, because the basics of life is food. Representative Flowers.
I just want to say in closing that, we have this coronavirus going on, and I would hate to think that we're forcing a sick person to go to work. And I would hate to think that that sick person that's going to work find a job in the restaurant. I would really hate to think that. So we need to think about there's consequences for our actions. So you think you're hurting the poor? No, I don't think so. You're hurting all of us. We're all going to be hurt by that. So I think we need to pause and think about what it is that we're doing and to whom we're doing it. Thank you very much.
March 1st is a little less than a month away. So
April?
April 1st, sorry about that. So if this were to take effect, is there any plan in place for you guys as a legislative body just to sort of combat this? Combat the effects of what this would do to the community?
Well, I would hope I would hope that the governor get lucky enough to find another pot of money. Did I say pot and money? I would hope that the governor would be lucky enough to find extra money so we could maybe give these people a stipend or something so they can feed themselves and take care of their families. I would hope that that would happen, please. And if not, we could always do a financial transaction tax and raise some money that way. Thank you.
And this is a federal mandate, therefore there's no way the state could get around it. We have to follow the mandate if they're going to be paid or given a benefit from the SNAP, from the states, from DHS. As Leader Flowers stated, now unless there's another line item that we're going to use to provide assistance for people that need it, but it cannot come, and we can't do anything as a state because it's a federal mandate.
How optimistic are you this president will change it?
I think that if the fact that we're here today and you're covering it, I think that it's great that we could send a message. And I think that there will be press conferences across the country leading up to April. And hopefully the president gets the message that people need to be able to eat and feed their families. But in Illinois, it's estimated by DHS that approximately 700,000 families will be without SNAP benefits if this has to be enforced. Thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.